It's Black History Month here in the UK, and whilst I have my own issues with there being 1 month dedicated to the vast history of Black people, every Saturday for the month of October, I'm going to take the opportunity to discuss a few issues, facts, and things pertaining to sex, health, and relationships amongst Black people. I'm going to try and take it easy on the stats and keep it chatty and easy to digest. Okay, so maybe easy to digest is probably not what it's going to be, given the subject matter, but you know what I mean. I will back up with facts and stats if necessary, but on the whole, it's just going to be me and my take on stuff. So, okay, here's the first of 5 videos dedicated to Black History Month in the UK 2022. Black love is offensive. When I say Black love, I mean both Black on Black love and loving on oneself as a Black person. This idea of Black love stirs up weird feelings and thoughts in both Black and non-Black people. In Black people, it's because we've been taught not to love ourselves, and most certainly not to love one another. And in non-Black people, likewise, there's been a subconscious narrative that has been weaved through society, mainly via the media, that encourages Black love to be viewed as threatening and unnecessary. By definition, offensive means to cause resent, annoyance, or upset. Therefore, Black love is offensive. Very offensive. I get it though. I mean, I don't like it, but I get it. Black love is possibly one of the most radical forms of Black activism because where there is love, there is power. And where there is power, be that as a voice or as a presence, there has to be change, political change, societal change. The more Black people love themselves as people and as individuals, the more respect is demanded, the more clout is granted, and less liberty taking is afforded. Black love is some powerful shit. This is a known fact because why else would there be such an obvious avoidance when it comes to displaying it? Think about why most things deemed as Black are always shared with an undercurrent of bad taste. Think about things mainly associated with Black people, such as Notting Hill Carnival. Automatically, the connotations that come with that are negative. Oh, there's going to be crime. Oh, it's going to be rowdy. Oh, it's going to be intimidating. Let's police it like crazy. Let's make the areas smaller. Let's just ignore the meaning of it and the joy that it brings to the people, not to mention the touristy aspect of it. Let's just control the ting as much as we can because it's born of Black people. Oh, and we can't let them get too carried away and think that it's actually okay to be Black. Oh, hell no. Sounds extreme, perhaps, but the war on Black love is real. Take, for example, the depiction of an authentic, normal, loving Black family. Okay, so arguably, there has been more of a drive recently to show Black people in this light, particularly after the slaying of George Floyd. I mean, yes, that has had a positive effect in that sense, but I can tell you now, for every one example of a normal, loving Black family, there are several more depictions that show dysfunction. Things such as Black men only being about their intimate body parts, with a lack of self-control that never really ends well, especially when they're in relationships with Black women. Whilst Black women themselves are often presented as loud, obnoxious, rowdy, and quite possibly the most consistent stereotype is being left on the shelf. You know, unable to get a man or keep a man because of the aforementioned traits. It goes on. And whilst, yeah, there are plenty that do fit this stereotype, sure there are. I mean, it's a reality for some. I mean, that's where stereotypes generally are born out of, an exaggerated reality. There's no denying that. But what is so damaging is the positive stereotypes like what we would see on, say, The Cosby Show. Yeah, let's not go there. They were always sort of seen as gimmicky and somewhat unreal. I mean, it was definitely presented as a novelty, you know, something you could dream of, aspire to, because apparently Black people or Black families cannot live a harmonious middle class life, apparently. It's so deep because this agenda, for want of a better expression, can be traced all the way back with arguments that, let's say, signaled the beginning of the end of Black families, or at least the positive depiction of such, has its roots in slavery. Yeah, I went there. And can I just say, for all those people that roll their eyes and sigh whenever slavery is mentioned, please, if you can begin to fathom and appreciate the disruption that slavery actually caused, then you'd soon realize that your eye rolls and disrespectful sighs should be left in a yard. Anyway, consider this. The fact that slave holders had the final say over whether a black couple could marry, and equally, they could split them up at any given time, especially if it made financial sense, a slave holder also had the option of taking the wife of a black male slave and making her his mistress if he so desired. Imagine that. Completely effing with the black family dynamic, wouldn't you agree? Effing with it and showing absolutely no regard for it. There was no respect at all. Black slaves were seen as property and not human beings with thoughts and feelings, or at least they weren't considered that way. Being a black slave simply meant that an oppressive system had the power to break any intimate bonds formed with a spouse and even with children. Now, if you believe trauma can impact DNA, then you would accept that this shit would go on to impact future generations of people. So it's now a case of black people having to deal with this genetic trauma around black love, coupled with a society that doesn't want the togetherness of black people to be a thing. The truth is, when you put the two together, you end up with the overall mindset that is currently prevalent in today's society. Black love is offensive.